Okay. I'm recording. Yay. All right. So I am more than excited and honored to celebrate and be able to introduce somebody that I've known for over 5 years. The first time I ever saw Alyssa, she was like 12 years old, and she was at 12, but she looked very young. And I was at a Houston One Team One Mission, and this very put together young lady walked down when it was triple diamonds, and my mouth was like this, like, oh my gosh, she's a triple diamond. Like, I was just really in shock and awe, and how you carried yourself then and how you've grown since then. And I'm just so excited that you're here and you're going to share with us whatever, because I need everything that you have. So whatever you want to share is the right thing. So I think everybody else is muted. I'm going to mute me also. And that way it's all you. And I'm guessing if we have questions, they can put them in the chat. Maybe we can do it that way. But this is for y'all. And I know Alyssa, she knows what she's talking about. So if you don't have a piece of paper and a pen, you need to go get a piece of paper and a pen. And if you're watching this on a recording, you need to get a piece of paper and a pen. Good stuff. So I will take it. You can take it away. Welcome.
Okay. Hey, everyone. Okay, let's just dive right in, because I could talk about social media for like 17 hours and we've got one. So let's just go for it. We have one, right? An hour? Okay, cool. So originally I was going to do a power hour, just like we normally do with our team, and set alarms and all of that. And we can still do a little bit of that. But the truth is, when I do my power hours, I like to focus on one platform, either Facebook or Instagram. And so I'm not going to give you guys maybe enough time to do some of the tasks that I'm going to tell you about, but I wanted to give you the tasks so that when you do power hours on your own, you can spend as much time on each thing that you want. But I kind of want to touch as many of them as I can. So let's start with Facebook, because I'm pretty sure most people are on Facebook. I know not everyone does Instagram. And I just have a list of things I'm going to kind of follow so I don't forget anything. But okay, the first thing that I do for coming up with unique captions or coming up with photos is I use Pinterest, okay? But you're not allowed to get lost in Pinterest world when you do this, okay? You're using Pinterest for business reasons. But usually once or twice a week, I like to go to Pinterest and save a bunch of photos to my phone that have funny memes that relate to our products. So for example, right now, if you have Pinterest, which I'm assuming most of you do, I think we have all females on here as far as I can tell right now. Most of you are going to have Pinterest. If you open it up, type in something like coffee humor. And when you do that, you'll probably find quite a few funny memes. Okay, so if you saw my post recently, I have one of those felt boards that you can add your letters to, and it said, "A day without keto coffee is like, just kidding, I have no idea." Literally came right from Pinterest. It was one of the very first things that pulled up, but instead of using the photo, I just stole what it said and I used it as a caption for my keto coffee post. So a lot of times people think I'm much funnier than I actually am. 99% of the time, it just came from something I saw on Pinterest or something I saved from Facebook. But rather than sharing those things on your page or sharing funny memes from another source on Facebook or Pinterest, save it and then just use it to make your post funnier or more original or whatever. So you can pretty much find humorous things about anything in your life, but products, weight loss, skincare, any of that, online shopping, just search online shopping memes, hair memes, okay? There's the potential is limitless for using Pinterest for business. Okay, so that's one thing. And then the other thing that I'll do is I'll just go to Google Images and I'll search for things like beautiful long hair, green juice, anything like laptop. You can search things like flat lay, F-L-A-T lay. It's 2 words, I think. I search for 2 words. And you go to the images and you'll see a bunch of cute things that look like blogger style that'll have maybe a cell phone or a keyboard or plants or whatever. So those are great for business posts. hear me when I say it's always better if you can just take your own photos, because you know that they've never been used on social media before. But sometimes that's not possible. Sometimes we, look homeless for 8 days in a row and we cannot take a selfie. Okay, I've been there. So you can use photos like that aren't super salesy. Like, you don't have to take them from the It Works Global Facebook page. I love the company. They have great graphics, but try to steer clear of using things that are so in your face, it works, or that say it works. Sometimes you have to, that's fine. But it will help your posts get more engagement. So there's 2 tips in general for Instagram or Facebook for you. All right. The other thing that you can do, sorry, I should add this. On Pinterest, I have boards that are set up that are secret that I add those things to. So you don't have to add them all to your phone necessarily. You can just make separate boards. So I do have a keto coffee board. I have a hair, skin, and nail board. So a lot of times I'll just save photos there so that when I need a caption, I can just go to the board that I've set up. All right. So on to Facebook. Okay, the first thing that I normally do before a power hour is I clean up my personal page. And all that means is that I go through the things that I've posted over the last week typically, and I make anything that's very It Works specific. I change the privacy to friends only. And I keep anything that's personal to my life, maybe a picture of my dogs, a wedding photo, I keep those public. And I don't go back forever, but I usually go back from the last 10 posts or so. That way, when I'm growing my network and I'm adding friends, people aren't just automatically assuming that I'm adding them because I'm an It Works distributor. I know that I build relationships with people before I message them, but they don't always know that. And so I just try to avoid them not even accepting my friend request before, I've even had the chance to build a relationship. So I go back about a week, and I keep a few public because I also want them to know I'm a real person. Because I don't know if you guys ever get those weird requests where you have no mutual friends and they only have like 8. I tend to get some of those weird ones. Obviously, I don't accept them. So I really just do that so that they see I'm a real person with a real life. So that's the first thing that I would have you guys do. Go through, kind of clean that up a little bit. I also don't have anything about It Works that's public in my bio. So I don't keep, I think it says that I'm a presidential diamond at Texas Skinny Wrappers, which is my business page that I don't really use. I have it in my bio, but you can change the privacy settings of those things. So I have that set to private. I think right now it just says former boutique owner. All right, so there's that. Do that first, because then you're going to add people later. Okay, then I'll go over to my newsfeed where everyone else is posting their stuff. Okay, just like you're scrolling through your newsfeed. Anytime that I'm scrolling through my newsfeed, it's with intention. So I'm interacting with people. I'm unfollowing people if I need to. I'm adding people to a list if I need to, commenting, whatever I need to do. I'm always scrolling with a purpose. So something that I did last month, I started doing last month that I really think made a huge difference in my business is I was very cutthroat about who I kept in my newsfeed. So I unfollowed a ton of people. I unfollowed people that I actually liked following just because I needed to see potential customers and potential distributors. And my newsfeed was just covered in It Works, and it was covered, and it was just covered in people that weren't going to join my business or order products from me. And so a lot of every distributor that I know, whether it was a friend or a downline, I put them on to an It Works distributor list. That way I could go back and I could follow them again. But I told myself on November 1st, I need 30 days where my newsfeed is new. Like, I want to bring new people in. I need it to look new. I need it to be new. So it was kind of sad to unfollow some people, but y'all, man, there are people commenting or even just liking stuff, even not It Works stuff, but just personal stuff that I've never seen before in my business. And it's because I'm starting to see their stuff, and I know I'm intentionally scrolling, so I'm interacting on their stuff, and they're coming over to my page. So that was really, really big for me. So I did a pretty big clean out in November, but now just anytime I'm scrolling, I'm just quick to unfollow or to put someone on a list, or some of you might have a snooze option. I know that it's a feature that they've been kind of rolling out, and they also have a take a break feature too. So There's weird things with Facebook and Instagram. Sometimes they roll things out to certain accounts over time. So it's the same thing when we talk about Instagram. Some people can add a poll to their story and some people can't. So it's just one of those features that kind of rolls out over time. So if you can take a snooze, I believe you get to choose from like 24 hours, a week, a month. I don't know what the options are, but I know there's some different options. So I'm still waiting for that one. But if you have it, I highly recommend using that feature. All right, then I'm going to show you guys, I'll screen share and show you a couple different ways that I add friends. It never fails. This always amazes someone. A lot of you guys probably know this, but I'm going to share it and not assume that everyone does. Hold on. I'm going to pull up my Facebook first, because if y'all saw my desktop and how many things are on it, you'd probably scream. Okay. Share screen. Just thinking about it. All right, can you see it? Y'all just give me a nod. Okay, well, don't read all my messages. It might be a potential. Okay. Okay, so the first way that I add friends is I go to my page and then I'll click on friends. And then you want to click over here, you want to click this find friends button. And when you do that, most people think this is it. Okay, it's going to show you your friend requests and it's going to show you suggested friends. I think on here, it'll show you people you may know. Okay, but what's really cool is this right-hand side options where you can search people that you might know that's my hometown, that, you know, that live in Kemah. So it's going to give you a whole list of people that you might know based on your friends already. So all of these people have the hometown of Kemah and I have mutual friends with them. At the top, it's going to be people that you have the most mutual friends with. I usually scroll down pretty far and I look for people that I have like 20 or less friends with. I like to have at least 5 to 7 minimum, but I will click over this and just look through the list to make sure that there's no distributors that are also friends with them. I'm not looking to poach other people's friends. I do see a distributor on that list, so I wouldn't friend her, but you can filter a million different ways. Okay, even though that's my hometown, maybe I want to find people whose hometown is San Antonio. And same thing, it'll show me people that I might know whose hometown is San Antonio. So it's fun if you want to build a team in a certain city. That's a great way to filter people and find people that you may know. You can do current city, you can do high school. Again, it doesn't have to be your high school. It could be a different high school. You can do mutual friends. For whatever reason, this just picks random names each time you get on here, but don't friend people that might be friends with some of your distributors, and all of those girls are distributors, college, employer. So sometimes I'll get on a show me the money call and I'll hear, oh my goodness, this nurse just joined 6 months ago and now she's ambassador. I'm like, I wonder like if I know any nurses, and I'll search people that work at certain hospitals in my area. So it's a creative way to find new people that might not show up on that original list of people you might know. So that's one way. The other thing that I'll do, and let's see, I'll just use Gina since we're on here together. Let's say there's this person that you just know would be amazing at this business if they would just give it a chance, and they've told you no about 7 bajillion times. Here's another little trick. Gina, you would just be amazing at this business, but you can go to friends and you can go to more, and you can go to people you may know. So now it's going to show you people in Gina's network that I might know. Again, I wouldn't do that because Gina's my friend, so I'm not going to friend her friends. But I have done that with people that are like, look, I'll send people your way, but I have no interest in doing the business. Okay, well, I'm going to find people that I have a bunch of mutual friends with. So there's that. I did see something. And then the other way, and I don't need to show you all this, but the other way that I find friends to add is just by engaging in group pages. So that is a task that I put on my social media power hours, is going to my groups and interacting. Do not join 7 million Facebook groups. You will never be able to keep up. Pick 2 that have a pretty good amount of people in them, and once or twice a week, go in there, share something, post something, comment back to people's posts, whatever you need to do to pick up some engagement in there. And that's a great way and a great place to make connections with people you have something in common with. And then once you've built that relationship, you can send them a friend request. So that's kind of growing your network on Facebook in a nutshell. Oh, I'm not screen sharing anymore, am I? Okay. The other thing I was gonna show you guys is, well, I'll do that here in a second. Okay, another thing that you can do when you go to your page on Facebook is you can interact with your recently added friends. So again, once or twice a week, I'll go to my page and click on friends. And you can do this from a phone or your computer, and you can click on recent. And it's going to show you a list. I don't know what the filter is. I don't know if it's 30 days or what, but if you're constantly adding people on Facebook, you should have a pretty good list on there. So you can go one by one, you know, kind of make your presence known on their page, like a few things, comment on their profile photo, see if there's someone you'd even want to work with. Sometimes pretty quickly you kind of know, and you can just unfriend them right then and there. So engaging with recent friends. I do the same thing on Instagram with recent followers, which I'll show you guys how to do. All right, the other thing that I wanted to show you guys before I switch over, and I know Ashley has kind of talked about this recently, but I can't remember if she did it for the whole team, but I'll just show you. Let me share screen again. Okay. So you can kind of use Facebook like Google. So let's say I want to find cleanse post. I'm looking for post ideas or captions for cleanse. So I'm going to look for my old post. So you can filter it here for post. And then I'm going to look for posts by me that include the word cleanse. So it's going to show you all of your posts that use that keyword. So if I want to use an old caption, I can even filter it for 2016. That way I know it's one that I didn't use recently. So that's a way to find inspiration. You can also find posted by someone else. So, I mean, you could do, again, let's use Gina. Has Gina ever used a post that says cleanse? Oh, there's one from March 4th, 2016. So if there's someone you love following, it's a great way to get post inspiration from them. You can search anything. You can search $99. You can search change your life. You can search whatever. Sometimes I will just do, like, let's say Confianza. And you can do posted by anyone. And then this will show you all of your friends that have used that word in their post. But you can also find public ones. So if you just want to find, I mean, there's the It Works Global page. Obviously, if you search something like relief or energy, you're going to find posts that have nothing to do with It Works. But Confianza usually has quite a few, except for now there's a bunch in Spanish. But that was not really what I was thinking it was going to show. But you can filter it a little bit more, and it'll show you more Confianza posts. So there's that. And then the other thing I was going to show y'all is if you go to Messenger. And this, I think, I'm pretty sure you have to do this from your computer. Okay, so you can search Messenger up here, and you can search things like $99. And then you have to click search messages for $99. And then it'll have a list here on the left-hand side, and you can load more. It'll show you any message thread that you have that you've used $99 in. So you can search HSN, you can search whatever you want that might bring up a business post. So that's good, especially if you've been in as long as I have and you're scared that people are going to fall through the cracks, or maybe you forgot to follow up with someone, or you're just looking for an old message that maybe you used that worked. You can search your messages. So I think that's awesome. All right, I think I saw, okay, so what do you say when they write you asking if you know them or how they know you? I honestly have maybe had that happen twice out of all the friend requests that I've sent. A lot of times I'll just say, oh my goodness, I'm so sorry, you showed up on my people you may know, and I thought we did know each other. or I saw you were a mutual friend of so-and-so and I thought that we had probably met. Usually because I'm careful about who I add, and we normally have, 5 to 20 mutual friends or more, I don't usually get it. Every now and then, like I said, maybe 2 or 3 times, but some people say like, oh, I was just growing my network. I don't typically say that. I just say, oh, my bad. I thought we didn't know. And most of the time I say that and they still accept my friend request. So I don't know. All right. So I think we can move on to Instagram. I will say that the other thing that's been helping or has been working for a lot of my leaders and me personally are just the short and sweet Facebook posts with the cheesy backgrounds that Facebook has for you. You're saying like, do I have any friends that want to grow their hair out? Do I have any friends that want to lose 5 to 10 pounds? Those little conversation starter posts have gotten quite a bit of interaction. Not always, and I'm not saying I always get potentials from it, but it seems to catch people's attention. So try those and try them at different times of day. I did one last month really late at night and just said, where are my night owl friends that are wanting to lose 10 to 15 pounds? And I got people that never have commented on my other weight loss posts. So kind of play around with it a little bit. Don't use like 8 in one day, but try one every other day or so. So yeah. And then live videos. I know that's not everyone's favorite thing, but live videos really do boost the algorithm a little bit. And the key with live videos is, number one, just get started. We used to kind of linger for a while at the beginning, trying to like wait for people to get on. Just make the video, because most people on Facebook are going to watch the recording. They're not going to watch it live. So if you kind of take too long to get into things, when they actually go to watch the recording, a lot of times they'll fast forward through it, or they'll just click off of it altogether. Facebook kind of ranks it by how long people stay on and listen. So that's what you want. You also want, as much as possible, you want people engaging on it. So ask them questions, ask people to drop things in the comments. Again, you might not get feedback while you're live, but if afterwards people are watching it and they're engaging, that's good for your page. Okay, Facebook says, we like her, we want to show her to more people. So that's what you want. So a couple times a week if you can. I know. I don't love live videos, but I also like to make money on social media, and live videos are what is helping all of us do that. So start short and sweet. There is no pressure, honestly. You can delete it if you absolutely hate your video, but people need to see you being real, and they like to see your excitement. It's fine if you slip up on your words, or the other day I said the wrong word. I went back and watched it, and one of my sentences didn't even make sense. Like, I get nervous still, and I've been doing this for over 6 years. The important thing is that you do it, and other people might see how awkward you are and know that they can do it too. Like, I feel like if you are perfect and you are a great speaker, other people think, no way, I could not do that. I hate talking in front of people. I do not want to make live videos. I will make myself look like an idiot. So they won't do it. So just embrace the fact that it's probably not going to be perfect. It's actually kind of a good recruiting tool to tell people, like, I can still do this. Just like Gina said when she got on here, like, I'm not great at technology. You can still do this. Like, that's the same thing with live videos. So let's skip over to Instagram. I get a lot of questions on Instagram, so I'm sorry, y'all. I know I'm kind of just throwing a bunch of information at you, but it'll make your future power hours much better. So first thing is, look at your Instagram. Does it look like you are selling something? If you followed someone today and they went to your page, would they know that you were an It Works distributor? If so, it's okay. We don't want your page to look super salesy, but occasionally you kind of can't help it. There might be a hair model post. There might be a before and after picture. There might be something about, you can't help it. At some point it's going to look, people are going to be able to tell. But before I grow my network on Instagram, it's kind of the same as Facebook. I either clean up my feed, so I'll remove some of the pictures that make it obvious, usually just in that first 9 picture grid, okay? Because that's what most people look at when they go to your page. They usually don't scroll past that first 9. They just kind of want to see who you are and decide if they want to follow you back. But Recently I've had quite a few It Works posts, and I did go through and delete some, but I just make my account private when it looks like that. And you can do that by going to your home page, and in the top right hand corner next to edit profile, there's like a little gadgety looking thing. If you click on that and you scroll down, you just click private account and it'll switch you private, and you can go back just as quickly. There's no like limit on private public. You can switch it. I mean, there are days that I go back and forth 2 or 3 times. Okay. I tend to get more people following me back when I'm private. I think just people are curious about who I might be. So I usually let them follow me back, and then sometime throughout the day, I'll go through and accept their request, or I'll wait until my page doesn't look super salesy and then I'll accept them. Hopefully that's not too much info, but people always ask me if my account's public or private, and it's both. So, all right. So once you've done that and you kind of figured out if you're going to be public or private, there's a couple different ways that you can follow people. And if you want to grow your Instagram following, most of it is just going to come from you following other people. So right now, the limit for Instagram is following about 40 people an hour. I don't expect everyone to follow people every single hour, but if you're sitting down to do a power hour, just know that's the limit, I believe. I don't know if it depends on the size of your Instagram account, but I have a pretty big following and it still only lets me follow 40. Sometimes it lets me look like I'm following more people, but when I go back to those pages, it hasn't actually followed them. So I honestly count when I'm going through, and I'll just follow exactly 40. But to find people, okay, these are the three main ways I find people. Number one, if there is a brand or a store or a celebrity that you love that would attract the kind of person that you might want on your team, that's a good place to start. So I have a clothing brand that I love to follow. It's not like a designer brand. It's more of an online boutique, but they have a really good following. It's mostly religious clothing. So I love that everyone that's on there loves Jesus, because I love Jesus. So, and they get a lot of comments on their posts, and they get a lot of people that tag other people in the comments. And so what I do is I'll go to that page when I'm ready to follow, and I'll just go to their most recent picture. And sometimes it has 200 comments, and I'll just go through the comments and I'll follow the people that have been commenting on it. And anytime it says that they're public, so when you follow someone, it either says you've requested them or you're following them. If they're public, it says following. As soon as I see that I'm following them, I'll go to their page and I'll immediately like 5 or 6 photos. Just really fast. I'm not picky. I'll just engage a little bit, so that way they'll go hopefully follow me back. Okay, so 40 people total. I'm not really picky. When I pick a store or a brand, it's usually a brand or store that mainly females follow, because that's who I mainly target. Some people might have more men on their team, or, whatever. So you can pick a brand that fits your target market. The key to this is thinking about the people you want on your team and what kind of places they follow. It's always kind of confusing to teach how to grow your following and how to use hashtags, because you have to be in kind of a different mindset. So when we get to hashtags, actually I'll kind of just touch on it now, but when you get to hashtags, you don't want to search things like work from home, because the people that are using work from home are typically people that already work from home. You want to use more something like hashtag my job sucks or hashtag, like that's probably an example because they're probably pretty negative, but you're looking for people that would be looking for this, not for the people that already have this. So you're not going to look at hashtag stay at home dog mom, because that's going to be more of a hashtag that someone like me would use. And I'm already a stay at home dog mom. Does that make sense? So you're looking for the person that you would have been before this business, what kind of hashtag you would have been using. Okay, so like if maybe you have twins, you might have used hashtag twin mom, or hashtag whatever your sorority is if you were a college student, or, get what I'm saying? Okay. All right, so the other way that I follow people is hashtags. Okay, so that's one thing. Again, you kind of have to get creative with it. You don't want to use anything too generic, or you'll have way too many people to choose from. Try to be pretty specific. And then the last thing is local places or people that check into certain places. I don't know if I'm able to mute people. I feel like there's, but I can't find it. I don't know. Oh, okay. I don't know. Maybe they left. Is searching places. So maybe you go to a really popular gym, or there's a shopping mall near you that's really popular. If you use the search bar on Instagram, you can find those places. So you can go to places. When you go to places, you can actually click near current location, and it's going to show you a lot of the frequent places around you that people check into. So mine says Houston, Texas, which is going to be a lot of people, but and then you can see the most liked photos there, and then you can also see the most recent pictures where people checked into Houston, Texas. So that if you really want to build a local team, that's a great way to do it. Maybe don't do your whole city, but think of places like in Houston when the rodeo is going on. A lot of times I'll look to see who's been checking in at the Houston rodeo, because I know those people are probably local, and I know it's a current event going on, and it's a little bit more specific than just searching Houston. So I might search like a certain stadium. If you're a college student, you might search other college stadiums or other college campuses, and you can find people that have posted photos there. The other thing with places and hashtags, sometimes what I'll do is instead of going to follow those people, I'll just go and comment on their stuff. So when I was getting married, I would search hashtag best day ever, because that would probably be either a wedding photo or an engagement photo, a proposal photo, and that's what I came across a lot. So I will go through those people's pictures and I'll say, oh my goodness, congratulations, being engaged is so much fun. A lot of times those people are like, who is this random chick commenting on my photo? And you get a follow back. And then if they followed me, they would see that my page was about wedding planning, it was about being engaged, or it was about my wedding. So it was a good way for me to find people that would relate to the stuff on my page. Okay, so let's see, what's next? Okay, one of my favorite things right now is engaging with people's stories. So on Instagram and on Facebook, but not as much on Facebook yet. It will probably be something that's growing and getting more popular. But on Instagram, I will just click through people's stories. Usually I will only send out maybe about 5 messages, but if you swipe, you can just keep looking through different people's stories. Anyone that's posting on their story that you follow will show up on that little story tab. If you comment on one of their stories, it actually sends it as a message. So this is a great way to get a conversation started with people. And it's probably going to be something totally unrelated to the business. But if they post a picture of their dog, oh my goodness, your dog's so cute. What kind of dog is it? It'll send as a message and then they'll respond to you. Okay, so usually I'll send out 5 to 10 messages going through stories. I've noticed that the more I engage with people's stories, the more they start to see my other stuff. Because once you've got a conversation going with people on Instagram or Facebook, you're basically telling Instagram and Facebook that this person likes you and they interact with you, and they tend to start showing them more of your stuff. So it's a really easy way to start a conversation. And a lot of times I'll just say something and I'll compliment them, or I'll just say, oh my gosh, your makeup looks beautiful today. Thank you. And I just leave it at that. And then usually, eventually maybe a week or 2 later, we'll talk about something else, but doesn't have to be scary. It's just a way to be thoughtful and kind and to get people over to your page. Okay, this is one of my favorite new tricks. I learned it from Tiffany Pfeiffer. I don't think she's on here, but she is a recruiting mastermind. And on Instagram, we send out quite a few messages to people. And a lot of times they are not seen, like people don't even read them. You can tell, it'll say in the bottom right-hand side that they've seen the message, or they've seen it and they haven't responded. So what I've been doing is 2 or 3 days after I've sent out a bunch of messages and I have quite a few people that haven't responded or haven't seen it, Instagram has a feature that you can actually unsend a message. And so you can go to that message thread, hold down your finger on. I got muted. Hopefully y'all can hear me. Okay, so you can go to the message thread, hold your finger down over the message that you sent them, copy it, and then you can hold your finger down again and you can unsend it. So I copy it, I unsend it, and I resend it to that person because they've never read it, just so that that notification pops up to them again, because sometimes they forget. Sometimes they haven't messaged on Instagram before and they don't know even how that works, or they don't message very much, so they don't think to check it. So I'll unsend it and resend it again. Never had someone like bothered by it, because again, they haven't seen it. They haven't opened your message. And the first 2 words are, "Hey girl," that's usually all they can see. So I know that they haven't seen it. If they have seen it, but they have not responded, what we've been doing is going back to those people and saying, "Hey girl, I'm so sorry. I hope that message that I sent you didn't bother you or offend you in any way. I just wanted to let you know that I thought you would be great at what I do. I hope you're having an amazing week," or "I hope you have a blessed day." However you want to end it, short and sweet. Most of the time people have come back and said, excuse me, "Oh my gosh, I totally forgot to respond to you," or "I'm so sorry I didn't respond. Like, I tried something like that before and it didn't work for me." You get something though. And for me, that's what I want. Like, I just want to know, can I keep you on my list? I still think you'd be great at this, but what's the hesitation? Sometimes it's just, "Yeah, I've looked into it before, but I didn't have the $99. I can work with that. I can work with you to make $99. "Oh, you're too busy. I understand. Let me introduce you to every single person I know that's busy that does this business." So for me, it's just a way to go back to those people and just make sure that I can take them off my list or keep them there. Does that make sense?
I have a question, Alyssa.
Yes.
Who are those people?
What people?
That's right. Who are the people? So like
That I'm messaging?
Yes.
Typically that is actually on my list. No, you're good. Adding people to your list. What I normally do is, because I'm spending a lot of my time engaging with people, I'm getting more engagement on my other posts. What I do is I go back usually a week or 2 weeks in my Instagram or on my Facebook, and I look to see who has liked some of my posts, not necessarily It Works posts, just any post. It could be a wedding post, it could be anything. I'll go through the list of people that like that post. This takes time, so I do it once or twice a week, and I set aside some time to build up my list. But I'll go through several posts, look for new names that I haven't messaged, and I'll add them to my list. So I try to get, right now I'm trying to get 100 people on my list, so that over the next couple of weeks, I don't have to go seek people out. I already have them on my list. So all I'm doing during the power hour is pulling out my list. But I will tell you, and again, this is what I do in the power hour, is I will go to my posts for a week or two ago, because I know those people have been following me for a week or two. That's why I don't go back to my most recent post. I'll go back a week or two. And when I write down their name on my list, I use a spreadsheet on my computer, but I actually click on their page and I engage on a few things, because I don't message them that night. I'm just building up my list. So when I get around to messaging them in a couple days, in a couple weeks, I know that they've already seen my name, because I've already gone and blown up their Instagram. And maybe I've been following them for months, but at least that way I know I've been following them for a couple of weeks. And by the time I've messaged them, it's probably been about a month at least, and I've already engaged with them. So that's kind of how I build my list. And same thing with Facebook. Even if you had your friends list printed and you're trying to find new people to message, as you add them to your hundreds list, go to their page and go ahead and just interact with them a little bit. So that way when you get around to messaging them, it's not the first time they've ever seen your name. That makes sense. So I'm not about the spammy life. And so again, most of the people that I've messaged, I've been following for a while, but I just want to guarantee that it at least has been a few weeks before I message them. And every once in a while I'll add someone in that day they show interest on something. It doesn't happen all the time. So if you guys are just starting to build your Instagram account, it doesn't mean that you're not going to get people right off the bat. I just prefer, and after doing it this long, I prefer, since I'm adding people all the time, it's really easy for me to now have people to message that I've been friends with or I've been following for 2 months, because 2 months ago I was still following people. And I'm still following people today, and in 2 months I'll be messaging these people. So some of that is just consistency of growing your network, and everyone will get there. But I think adding followers and adding friends on Facebook is one of those things that everyone wants it to pay off today. And so they'll do it for a couple of weeks. They'll be really good about building their network, and then they don't see it paying off. And then a couple of weeks later, all of these new people are starting to show interest and starting to join or order products. And they've already taken off, 2 or 3 weeks of not adding people because they didn't think it was working. And so I feel like that's why people's businesses sometimes like really do this and their networks do that, because we don't think it's working. And so we take a break from it, and then we realize all along it was. So for me personally, with building on an Instagram and on Facebook, I have to have non-negotiables. I see people like taking a selfie with the Zoom right below me. It's funny. But I have to have some non-negotiables, because there are some days where I can't sit down and do 2 hours on Facebook and 2 hours on Instagram. That's not reasonable for anyone. And people just don't want to. I mean, my husband's a chiropractor, thank goodness, but most people don't want to be looking down at their phones for that long. So you have to kind of figure out what's most important to you in your business long term. And that has to always be on your power hour list. That's why I feel like my team power hours are getting so boring, because we always spend 10 minutes growing our list and 10 minutes messaging. Because if you're always going to message, then you always have to be building your list. And I did want to give you guys an example of a message that I've been sending, because if y'all are anything like me, especially if you ever feel discouraged and it's hard to message new people, or you're not feeling brave, I have found that sending a message and I'll just tell you what it is, sending a message like this makes it so easy for me to message new people. And I never feel scared to message people anymore. Because I used to message people and say hey, oh my goodness, I know this is random, but I think you'd be so good at what I do. Would you ever talk to me about making extra money? Have you ever thought about making extra money from home? Et cetera, et cetera. And occasionally I'll still use that message, but what I've found that works better for me now is just saying something like, hey, Taryn, I know this is random, but I can tell from your Instagram feed you would be so amazing at what I do. I just wanted to drop in and say hi, since I've been creeping on your page lately. I hope you had a great weekend. Most of the time I'll tweak it. I put their first name. I'll say something about their profile specifically. Like if I know that they spent the weekend with their family, I'll say, I hope you had a great weekend with your family, or your trip to wherever looks so fun. But I'm not asking for a response. And I feel like that, especially for new distributors, that takes the scary part out of it. If they don't respond, you didn't ask them for a response, so, whatever. But most of the time, because you're sending a really nice message and complimenting them on something, whether it's their pictures or their Instagram feed, or just telling them that you think they would be great at something, you would be so surprised how good that makes people feel. And I've had tons of people come back and say oh my goodness, me? That's amazing. Thank you so much. And sometimes they won't say anything about what I do, or they won't ask me questions about the business I'm a part of. But again, it just built that relationship a little bit further, because I know at some point they're going to want products, or they're going to want to do this. So that was just my initial seed without asking, if that makes sense. And it's so weird, because for so long I taught ask, ask the question, end your message with a question. But I think it's easier for me to get out more messages this way. And I feel like if it's a numbers game, it doesn't matter what you send to them. If they're going to be in your business, they're going to be in your business. So plant that seed and just be genuine and nice. And I've had probably 50% of people that have responded. Not everyone has responded, but out of the people that have responded have said something like, oh, you look like you have so much fun. What is it that you do? Or what job is it? Or what do you do? Or how do you make money, or whatever? And then it's got that conversation started. So that has been awesome.
Hey, Alyssa, a few people asked if you could share the message in the thread, and I thought I'd say something before you moved on from what you just said.
Thank you.
You can either repeat the message or share it.
Yes, I'm going to copy it, and I'll put it in the chat for you guys.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, and then non-negotiables are always messaging, adding to my list, and adding to my network. Those are the main three things that I don't miss. And I think, even at Ashley, some of you guys were there, we were talking about measuring your success. And that's how I measure my success on a power hour and daily. If I've added people to my network, I've sent out new messages, What did I say? Adding people to network, sending out messages. I can't even remember what my third is. I know I do it. It's non-negotiable, but okay, sorry. Let me copy and paste this message.
You said adding to your list. It was add to your list, add to your network, and message.
Yeah, so adding to my list and adding to my network are two separate things. For some people, they're the same, but I don't add new people to my list right away. The hard thing about Zooming from your computer is that when you have something on your phone that you want to put in the chat, I have to I know, first world problems, but. Okay. And again, I tweak that message sometime, like over Thanksgiving, it was like, happy belated Thanksgiving. I hope you had a great weekend. You know, I've been following you for several weeks now, and I just had to tell you. And then I always end it with just like, I like the creeping on your page lately thing. I feel like people appreciate the honesty. Plus, most of the people I'm messaging, they were someone that I went and I commented or I liked 5 or 6 photos. So it kind of makes sense. Just think if there was anything else on my Instagram list. I mean, that's the gist of it. I have gotten a few leads from doing Instagram polls. I know not everyone has that feature yet, but to create an Instagram poll, if you do have the option, if you open your story, you can take a picture, obviously using that regular camera button in the center. A lot of people ask me how I make my background black, and I literally just put my finger over it and take a picture of that. Okay. And then you can add text to it. The poll is the little Post-it note looking button here. So when you click on that, these are going to be your options. So you can add the time, you can add the temperature, and then on mine, it's this button right here. So it's on the right-hand side, the second row, or the second row, third column over. And you can create a poll. You can ask a question and you can change the poll options. So sometimes I'll be like, who wants to make extra money from home? Heck yes, or I don't like money. Like, you can change it and make it funny. You can do whatever you want. And once you create it, what I do is I move this usually like either diagonal or up here, because what happens is that people will be scrolling through their story and they will just accidentally vote. And so I try to just avoid that, and I just move it to somewhere where they'd actually have to move their finger. And, you know, a lot of times they're clicking right here because that's how we all hold our phones for the most part. So just move it around a little bit and see if that helps you get more accurate results. And then I'll show you, because I have one up right now. If you click the names here, like this is a poll in my story right now. If you click the names here, oops, hold on, gotta go back to it. If you click the names in the bottom left, it'll tell you who voted for what. So mine was, do you get to sleep in on Monday mornings? 56% of people said, I wish, and 44% said, yes, thank goodness. But you can see who said, I wish, and who said, thank goodness. I probably won't message those people because it wasn't specifically about the business. But the next post, I said, like, do you want more info? Like, more info, please, or sign me up. So those people I will message. A lot of them are distributors on my team that vote, but every once in a while I get a new lead and I will message those people and say, hey, I saw your response to my poll in my story. I don't know if you just accidentally clicked on it, or if you are interested, I would love to chat with you more about it. What do you think? Okay, those people I will just come out and ask. But I do think the polls are fun, and every once in a while you can get a new lead from that. So that's kind of the gist of it. And like I said, I mean, if I sit down for a power hour, I don't get all of those things done. I just pick from the list of things. I kind of have all those saved, and I know about how long it takes me to do specific things on Instagram. Like, I know I can follow 40 people in about 10 minutes, especially interacting on the public ones. So I can kind of space out my power hour and set my alarms accordingly. So you guys kind of just have to figure out what things you need to focus on and what your negotiables, your non-negotiables are, and then set power hours based on those things. So new people, add new people to your list, add new people to your network, and send out messages. And of course, like follow up and all of that stuff too. But for me, those are the things I have to get done to know that I'm growing my business for the future. And I mean, that's what we're all here for, right? For the future of the business and for changing our future. So for me, that's got to be the priority. And then, you know, Fridays will be more follow up and reaching out to people that I reached out to previously. And the other thing that has been so good about sending out more messages using that short and sweet little message I put in the chat is that it has some conversations going with people that maybe aren't going to do the business or maybe aren't interested right now. But guess what? In a week, I'm going to go back to all those people and I'm going to say, hey, I know that you said that this business wasn't for you, but what do you think about just trying the products for a few months? I can give you my 40% off discount for trying them for 90 days. So I signed several loyals last month just by doing that. Like every other week, going back to the list from the week before and just saying, hey, I knew you were too busy, or hey, I know you didn't, you know, you weren't ready to start the business, or I knew you were too busy or whatever. Like maybe you'll be more comfortable just using the products for a while and then jumping in after the new year. So that's a great way to sign loyals, in my opinion, because it kind of just takes the pressure off of them to sell anything. So okay.
Alyssa, do you mainly like reach out to people on Instagram that are in the United States, or do you?
Both, really. I mean, I try to pick people that speak English because I don't know any other languages. And I do come across people that don't speak very much English. But honestly, anyone that interacts on my stuff, I mean, I will follow. A lot of the brands that I follow do have an international following. So every once in a while, I do come across people, typically in the UK. And that's usually pretty easy because most of them speak good English. So yeah, I will message anyone. And sometimes I'll even say, hey, I know you're in Belgium, or hey, I know you live here. So that way they know I've looked at their page enough to know that, of course, but then also to let them know like, hey, I know you're here, but you can still do this. Because usually that's the first thing, like, you know, it's people don't know about it. So they don't even know that they can do it. A lot of things that are available here aren't available there. So they're not even sure that it's an option. So I always like to throw that out like, hey, I already know that, and I'm still offering you this.
Good stuff.
So yeah, that's kind of, unless people have questions, those are my tasks. That's pretty much all I do. And then I just repeat it. But I mean, I do most of my business on social media. So
that was great. Great stuff. Y'all have any questions?
Yeah, feel free to unmute or write stuff in the chat, or
unmute yourself if you have a question.
I do.
Yes, ma'am.
Whenever you start to seal the deal with people, are you sealing the deal with them strictly through text? Are you getting them on the phone, or are you just sending them to your website, or it's just kind of, I guess what?
I always give them the option to use my website or send me their info. So a lot of times I will, I'll say, you know, I'm putting some orders in right now. Do you want to text me your info? Or if you want to, I can send you instructions for my website. I like to give the option only because, especially on Instagram. On Facebook, a lot of times I feel like the relationship's a little bit different. Instagram, like some of these people I don't have any mutual friends with. They don't know me. Like maybe they just started following me. So sometimes with them, I like to give them the option so that they don't feel like they have to give me their info to order. Because sometimes I feel like I lose them. You know, does that make sense? So, but sometimes in the conversation too, I'll say, you know what, like, I'm so bad at Instagram messaging. Like today has been crazy. Like, do you mind texting me? Here's my number. And sometimes giving them my number instead of asking them for theirs also makes a big difference.
Good.
So yeah, because sometimes it's weird because people don't like to give out their number, but they're going to text you. So you're going to have it, but it's just like a mental thing for, I don't know, for people. I don't know.
Yeah, people are weird about that.
Yeah. Yeah. But I do, I mean, it's probably 50-50. Like there are a lot of people that are like, will you just do it for me? And I'll get them to text me. But a lot of times like, hey, I'm putting orders in an hour. Did you just want to text me? Like I'll use that as a follow-up tip or technique usually. But yeah,
do you think you're going to do the cutthroat thing in December? for Facebook?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of now, because I did so much in November, it's pretty clean still. But I'm kind of just weeding people out as I go through my newsfeed now. Rather, I'm not sitting down for like 30 minutes and clearing it out. It's more just one or two here and there as I'm scrolling.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, yeah, I do think it was good. And again, like for some people that takes a little bit of the fun out of being on Facebook, but I kind of was like, do I want to make $1 million on Facebook, or do I want to see that kid I went to high school and his cat? Like, it was like, I love like seeing that, but what do like, you know? And so, and of course, like I still follow family and there's leaders that I follow, but the truth is the people that I like to follow on social media, I see their stuff anyways, or I see them in real life. So, or I'm like in a group chat with them, or it's like, I don't feel like I really miss anything by not seeing their stuff in my feed. But what happens is if you're only seeing the same people over and over in your feed and that's who you're interacting with, Facebook is just going to keep showing you that. So the other option is if you don't want to unfollow people, don't spend as much time on their post. Mm-hmm. Like tell like Gina, I love you in a private message, but if I see your post, I might not comment on it this month just because I want to see other people. So I want to see other people. It feels like we're in a relationship and I'm breaking up with you. It's not you, it's me. But yeah, so that's kind of how I feel about it. And, you know, some people I've told that too. And that's why they're kind of getting into Instagram. They want Facebook to still be more personal and, you know, friends and everything. So Instagram's a better route for them. Again, for me, I know that the people that I love, I can always just go back to their page. It's not like I'm going to forget about them if I'm not seeing them on social media. So in 30 days, I can just go back to their page and click follow. It's not like we're unfriending them. So yeah.
That's good. That's good stuff. All right. Well, I know that I asked you to do an hour and it's right up an hour. So I'm going to, anybody else that have a question, we're all good. I'm going to pray for us and then we'll be done. And I'll stop the recording. Alyssa, thank you so much. You are, I'm telling you, I'm just, my mind blows every time. I'm took a lot of notes and I know I'm going to listen to the video again because it's just really, really good stuff. And I appreciate you doing this for us and,
of course.
and doing this. So, all right, let's pray. Dearly Father, Lord, thank you for this day. Thank you for Alyssa. And I just pray right now that you will help her and her husband and that you'll just bless them and watch over them, Lord. God, I pray for every single person that was on this Zoom. I know there are so many things that are going on, and I just thank you so much that we're able to work this business in this very unique way and that we're able to learn more about how to reach people and contact people through social media, and it just really is amazing to me every time I learn more about it. Lord, I thank you for the business. I thank you for Ashley and her leadership and for Mark and for Pam and Mike and Cammie, and then you just protect them and watch them. And I know that amazing things are happening for the end of this month and, of course, for 2018. I pray that you watch over us and just bless us in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
All right. Good night.
Thank you, ladies.
Thanks for having me.